Welcome back to the deep dive. So, if you're like most people running an organization, you probably breathed this massive sigh of relief when the last fiscal year closed out.
Right, usually around the end of June.
Exactly. And you're now, enjoying the sunshine, maybe a slightly slower email pace, and that genuinely well-earned summer break.
Hmm.
But here's the strategic reality. While we're enjoying the calm, the clock is ticking. The fall season is, without question, the most critical stretch of the entire fundraising calendar.
It really is. And our sources warn that if you use those summer months just for relaxing, you risk a really chaotic, reactive fall season that, well, it often results in missing your annual targets.
And that's the mission for this deep dive. We're looking at a powerful, proactive strategy, a 4-step guide, really on how the actions you take right now in the summer determine your success when that fall fundraising crescendo hits.
It's a blueprint for shifting from just, minimizing chaos to actually maximizing your goals.
We've broken it all down. But before we jump into step 1, just a reminder, you can find more information on all sorts of fundraising methods, including courses on all these planning strategies at fundraisingcourses.com.
A great resource.
It is. Okay, let's unpack this blueprint for success.
Let's do it.
So first, we need to set the context. For some organizations, especially smaller ones, they might not have internalized this cycle yet. Why is that period, say, between October and December so incredibly critical?
Well, the fall is the definitive strategic moment.
Yeah.
And it's mainly because it hosts the two major drivers for your year-end performance.
Yeah.
Giving Tuesday and the overall year-end giving push.
Right.
Organizations can secure the majority, sometimes 50 to 70% of their entire annual budget in just that 3-month window.
Wow. 50 to 70%.
Yeah. So if you zoom out for a second, this reliance means that if you run into operational paralysis or some unexpected delay in November, you don't just lose a little money.
Yeah.
You risk failing to deliver on your entire mission for the next year. And that is exactly why planning cannot wait until September.
So if success is really decided in those critical 90 days, then the 90 days before that, the summer, that has to be about setting the foundation.
It's all about building the runway.
Building the runway. I like that.
Exactly. The documents we reviewed all emphasize proactive preparation. If you skip this part, the fall just inevitably turns into this series of panicked, reactive efforts.
I've seen it. It's a frantic scramble to, write copy, print materials, schedule email.
All at once. Strategic planning eliminates that chaos.
Okay, so summer is for building that foundation. The first challenge, then, is establishing the destination. Let's dive into step 1. Set your goals and confirm them.
Right. So before any tactical work begins, you must have a clear, quantified destination. The goals have to specify the required dollars and the required donors you need by the end of the next fiscal year.
It sounds so obvious, but you're saying that's often where things go wrong?
It's often the root cause of later failure, that lack of clarity right at the start.
So, but isn't having 2 types of goals, revenue and engagement, isn't that just overcomplicating it? Why not just focus on the dollar amount?
That's a great question, and it's a key distinction the source material makes. Focusing only on revenue, it ignores sustainability.
Mm-hmm. How so?
Well, for example, you might hit your $100,000 revenue goal with 2 huge institutional gifts, which is great. But if you didn't focus on that secondary goal of, say, acquiring 500 new individual donors.
Your pipeline for next year is empty.
Exactly. Your pipeline is empty. You need both the revenue goal and the engagement goal to ensure short-term funding and long-term health.
That makes perfect sense. So it's about longevity, not just getting money in the door right now. Okay, so once we have those big annual numbers, how do we make them actionable over the summer?
We apply the essential framework. SMART. Specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound. A major pitfall is setting a huge annual target without breaking it down into manageable monthly goals. You have to look at last year's data. Where were the donation lulls?
The quiet months.
The quiet months. If July and August were historically slow, you can't just expect $5,000 to walk in the door. You have to plan smaller campaigns or maybe new tactics for those months.
So you're planning for the valleys, not just the peaks.
Precisely. It ensures engagement is continuous, rather than just relying on that big year-end bump. The SMART structure is really the only way to track progress and make adjustments.
Okay, so we know what we need. Now we move to step 2. Plan your solicitations. This is figuring out how we're going to get there.
This is where the bulk of the revenue comes from, so planning here needs to be, surgical. You identify the channels, events, direct mail, email, grants, And use the calendar right now to map out the whole solicitation schedule.
And when you're mapping this out, I imagine the strategic challenge is choosing which channels to focus on, right? I mean, direct mail costs a lot more upfront than email.
That's the core challenge channel optimization. If your data shows direct mail has a reliable $3 return for every dollar spent, but your email list is dormant, you might prioritize a high-cost, high-return direct mail piece and then use the email channel for maybe lower-cost, new donor acquisition, where the ROI is slower, but the volume is higher.
The summer planning forces you to make those trade-offs.
It does. Let's take Giving Tuesday as a huge example. This is a massive moment. It raised over $3 billion globally last year.
Wow.
So if you plan to participate, your internal outreach has to begin in late summer. You can't just fire off a mass email on the day of and hope for the best.
Right.
Summer is when you write the compelling copy, finalize the graphics, and crucially, segment your email lists for targeted appeals.
And what about grants? I mean, that's a completely different timeline.
A completely different beast. You are reacting to their fiscal schedules, not your own. So summer is the time to review every single proposal deadline for foundations and government agencies.
Because if a deadline is November 1st,
you need to know that today. So you can allocate writing and compliance resources in August and September, long before the fall event season just consumes all of your time.
And it's not just the huge campaigns. Our sources also emphasize planning for the minor touch points.
That's right, the smaller asks. If your calendar only shows 3 huge fundraising moments, you're just exposing yourself to unnecessary risk.
You're putting all your eggs in 3 baskets.
You are. You have to plan for consistent, smaller asks like personal appeals to mid-level donors or renewal reminders. This creates a steady, reliable stream of income that can buffer you against any unexpected.
Detailed timelines and specific due dates, working strictly backward from that final delivery date.
So let's walk through that direct mail example again. What does backdating really reveal there?
Okay, let's say the final drop date for the Postal Service is December 5th. You can't drop it until it's printed and folded and stamped. That takes 10 days. So that's a November 25th deadline for delivery from the printer.
Okay, but the printer needs the final files before that.
2 weeks before that, November 11th. But the real insight is realizing the steps that don't even look like fundraising. The copywriter needs to submit the text by, say, October 15th to allow for a legal and leadership review.
I see, and you have to negotiate the printing contract.
By October 1st, if you miss that, you lose the bid window and face higher costs. Backdating forces you to account for all those often forgotten administrative and compliance steps. It prevents those cascading failures that happen when you don't account for vendors or internal reviews.
Absolutely. And the same hyper detail applies to digital. Backdating includes drafting the subject line and 3 variants for A/B testing, designing the graphics, creating landing pages,
But that's follow-ups.
and the follow-up emails to non-donors, critically. And this is one that's often overlooked. The thank you process.
Yeah.
The automated receipting and personal thank you messages must be built and tested before the campaign launches.
That's a great point. If you don't backdate the thank you system, that key moment of donor satisfaction gets sloppy.
Or delayed. Both are bad.
Okay, so if you spend the summer doing all that backdating, you end up with, an incredibly detailed calendar. That brings us to our final step, step 4. Coordinate your backdating.
This is where strategy meets sanity. Because after you've backdated 5 or 6 major projects, you will inevitably find major task overlaps.
So what's the biggest risk when all those major tasks collide?
Operational burnout and dilution of focus. Imagine scrambling to finalize a major grant proposal, managing the logistics of a fall event, and proofreading the direct mail appeal.
All in the same week.
All in the same 48 hours. Your team's energy is finite. The quality of every single project suffers.
So the solution is to coordinate.
You have to analyze the master calendar, identify those overlaps, and strategically spread out the major tasks. If the grant is due November 1st and your gala is October 25th, the grant writing team needs to be done before the event staff gets pulled into final setup.
It's about resource allocation for your team's focus time, and thankfully we don't have to manage this with sticky notes anymore.
Precisely. Technology is crucial here. Our sources highlight that visualization is essential, so tools like Google Sheets or Microsoft Excel are great for creating those basic timeline visualizations.
Gantt charts, basically.
Gantt charts, dynamic calendars, things that flag due dates, and for task tracking, tools like Microsoft Planner or Trello are indispensable for coordination.
They let you assign owners and due dates for every little task.
Exactly. But the advanced insight here isn't just naming the software. right? It's understanding the integration.
What do you mean?
Well, the advanced play is checking your existing infrastructure. Does your donor management software already have built-in project management tools? Ideally, you want your planning system to talk to your donor data system.
To prevent data silos.
Exactly. Coordination is about establishing a single source of truth for all tasks across the organization.
So zooming out, that synchronization is key. Doing these 4 steps in the summer setting goals, planning solicitations, backdating, and coordinating, it means you step into the fall feeling powerful, not reactive.
It allows the organization to breathe. You shift from this desperate posture of trying to minimize chaos to one of actively maximizing success.
Now, before we wrap up, let's share that great visual motivational bonus tip from the source material.
Well, this one is simple, but it's incredibly effective for team alignment. Put those goals and the master backdating schedule on a huge physical wall chart,
Like on a giant piece of paper.
a massive piece of paper or multiple flip charts. Make it visible to everyone. And most importantly, have the team mark completed tasks with a big, satisfying red X.
That red X is a fantastic psychological boost. It confirms progress visually and keeps everyone aligned, especially when that fall stress starts to build.
Yeah. The strategic implication is that by planning now, you ensure the organization isn't just, running in place when the fall arrives. You are truly ready to hit the ground running
Maximizing every opportunity instead of just putting out fires.
and ensuring you successfully meet or even exceed those ambitious annual goals.
That's the perfect concluding thought. Preparedness leads to peak performance. A huge thanks for guiding us through this.
My pleasure.
And if you want to dive deeper into these strategies and explore comprehensive courses on all sorts of fundraising methods, remember you can find more information at fundraisingcourses.com. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive. We'll talk to you next time.